Okay, hello everyone. I think a minute or two early today because I'm just testing some stuff, making sure that it is all working as expected. So I'm gonna start by doing a little bit of housekeeping to just remind everyone, especially those who have signed up at the last minute, because we still have some registrations that came in yesterday. I am so grateful. There's over 240 people who actually signed up for the challenge and are watching the videos, and I am so humbled and I am so grateful and I am so happy to see you all doing your homework. You have no idea how much that means to me. Like I said yesterday, as a teacher, I can do all I can to prepare, but you still need to do your part. And so I am glad that you're finding these action steps doable and helpful. So, as a reminder, please make sure that my email is marked as not spam because sometimes you might miss the notifications. If you are new to the group and you have not met me before, check out the announcements tabs. There's a tag that says meet the teachers. And I made a video last week sharing a little bit about my personal story and how I became the teacher I am today. If you're looking for an accountability buddy, there's a thread there where you can meet some good women to kind of help you with your action steps. Make sure that you are tagging your accountability buddy if you have one when you log into the lives and when you do your homework. Make sure that you're tagging them as well. Let's see. Yesterday's winner was Amy, and she won the little bracelet. So Amy, this is going to be the bracelet that you get in the mail. It is lapis lazuli. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but I look forward to you getting this in the mail. It's made with lots and lots of love. So thank you so much for commenting and doing your homework. Today's gift is a book. So this is a book that was given to me by one of my students who you're going to meet on Friday. Her name is Lizette. And it is, I'm a very practical teacher. So I like books that are real and you can put them into practice and they're not just theory and you can't do anything with it. So this is a wonderful book. It's called Untethered Soul. If the winner of the book already has it, I have an entire library of books over there and another one over here that I can choose from. So all you have to do is tell me, no, I already have that book, and no worries with me. Everything's on the table so that there's no messy energy. You don't need a second copy of a book you already have. So I will find another book if you've already read that one. So that's going to be the prize for today. As a reminder, today's day 3. So day 1, we met Katie DeMarco, who is a level 2 student, and she helped us to kind of get some tips and tricks about setting up sacred space. Yesterday, we talked about our mind and the functions of the mind: to remember, to imagine, to understand, to misunderstand, and sleep. Don't forget sleep. Sleep's good. So yesterday we talked about that, and I hope that you have been observing your mind as you go through the day to just see, my monkey mind is trying to just understand the world around me, what I smell, what I taste, what I feel, what I see. It's trying to constantly process like the things I read and the things I learn. It's always thinking about the future, which is imagination, and I have the choice of imagining good things or worrying. And the past, where you can get stuck in an experience or you can use it as a way to learn and just gain wisdom for future steps in your life. So yesterday was all about the mind. Today is all about emotions. And it's funny because I always step into the energy of whatever it is I'm gonna teach. And today, for some reason, I'm like all emotional and I'm like, Sarah, what's going on over here? And it's like, a lot of it is joy. Like, you have no idea. And you see, now I'm gonna get teary-eyed. um, because I started this little journey with this little Facebook group like 30, 45 days ago. And I didn't even really know where it was going and what I was gonna do. I just kind of knew that I am working online now and I needed a way to really connect with people. And like I mentioned before, up until then, I wasn't really a social media person. And then the group starts growing and growing, and now there's like 600 people or something. And I feel like this huge like responsibility to serve and to provide like something that's valuable to you guys. And so then I started designing this little 5-day challenge to kind of, in a systematic way, give you some wisdom. And then people start signing up. And then you show up. You actually are showing up. You're right here, right now with me. And then you're doing your homework. And, like emotions come up. My heart just fills with gratitude. And these are good emotions, right? But we're going to talk about negative emotions and what to do with them today as well. So I just want to share that with you. I'm emotional today, just in time. And it just so happens that it's emotions of gratitude for you guys being here. I really can't thank you enough for your support and company as we go through this journey. I am blessed to be able to teach. I am so grateful. It helps me to stay on the path, to remember what I learn, and it gives me purpose in life. Like I wake up every morning and I have one conversation with one student and I just see their face go like just light up and understand. It's just such a blessing. And so if it wasn't for you guys learning, then I wouldn't be a teacher. And being a teacher is my dharma, is my path, and thanks to you I get to fulfill it. So I am deeply, deeply grateful. Tomorrow we are going to talk about the importance of the 3 things that you need to really create and sustain a practice for good, which is a teacher, a community, and a systematic and enjoyable practice. You see, your spiritual practice shouldn't be a burden. It shouldn't be something that you dread. It shouldn't be something that you like have on your to-do list and feel guilty if you don't do. It's something that you really need to look forward to with gratitude and devotion and just positive energy. So tomorrow we're going to talk about how to do that, how to track it, how to measure progress and all of that. And then you're also going to meet Rebecca. And I'm so excited for you guys to meet Rebecca. Rebecca's a level 3 student. She's doing the level 3 certification now. And she has grown so much since we've been working together, and so I am so thrilled to have you guys meet her. And then on Friday, we are going to talk about the obstacles that oftentimes come up in the path. So all of this time we have been talking about understanding how the mind works, how emotions work, what the practice should look like, how to track it. And if it was that simple, right? If you could just, oh, here we go in this beautiful journey. And it actually is, if you know in advance that there will be some obstacles along the way. You will get tired, you will have doubt, you will experience laziness, you will experience confusion and overwhelm and all of these things. So if you know in advance that these obstacles are coming, then you will be able to sustain your practice because you have the right perspective, you have the right understanding through the exercises that you've done this week. You are really gaining, and I see when I post in the morning, like, what are your aha moments? I see that you really are understanding, and there's a mind shift going on with, the perception of what the practice should be and how it should work. And so I see all of that, and I am grateful, like I said, to be teaching, and I'm glad to see that you're feeling inspired and doing it. And at the same time, I'm very, very real. We live in the world. What we are trying to do ain't easy per se. It's something that takes effort and zeal and determination and a lot of love and patience. And so if you know that, then when you start to like just hit little bumps in the road, then you'll be equipped to know how to handle them properly. So that's kind of like the big overview, and today I'm gonna give you a little example. Oh wow, there's so many comments coming in already. Okay, give me 1 second to just catch up with you guys. Ah. Overwhelmed with emotion when you're doing yoga. Yes, I'll explain why that happens in a second. Don't know where it comes from. We'll talk about that too. I'm glad you're here, Emily. And all of you. I'm so glad you find it meaningful. Yes, you're welcome for starting this group. Okay, and yes, it should be uplifting and exciting. And that's the thing that people tell me the most when they work with me. It's like, you're always smiling, you're always giggling. You know, doing these live things is actually a little just interesting for me because I used to teach in person. And from teaching in person, I've discovered I'm a funny person. Now, I don't set out to be funny. I'm just like real down. This is what it is. Let's call it like it is. And because a lot of times people don't communicate in that way, right? Sometimes it comes across as funny, and just the fact that I'm constantly smiling. But when I'm with a room of people, I can see them smile back. When I'm with you guys over here, sometimes it's like I'm laughing with myself, I'm having fun with myself, I'm giggling at myself, I'm laughing at my own jokes. It's kind of like an interesting experience. So here's what I'm gonna ask you to do today. Every time I make you laugh, put a little happy face on the comment so that I know you're laughing with me and not at me, okay? So with all of that said, let's go ahead and get started with today's agenda. So the first thing that I want to talk about is where emotions come from. And to do that, we kind of need to take a little bit of step back and understand the human energy system. So we have the physical body, which is, you know, what we can touch, what we can feel. And one of the reasons that I personally love yoga is because it's very practical. You are literally physically doing something. You are using this physical body to bring consciousness and awareness into your system, and it's very tangible because you can literally feel the hamstring stretch and the shoulder release and the neck pain go away, and it's a very grounding practice. So that's the physical body. Then we have the energy body, which is, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the chakras, which is what those colors are. And I'm just going to go through a quick description of what they are, in case some of you might not be familiar with that. But basically, there's 7 energy centers in our energy system. The first one is the root chakra, which is the color red, and that represents survival. And it's the center that's responsible for helping us like provide food, shelter, clothing, and feel safe in our life, the ability to manifest the resources that we need to live a full life. The next one is orange, and that's the sacral chakra, about 2 inches below the belly button. And that is the center that helps us like experience pleasure and joy, and also create and manifest, like actually put it into action and find that creative energy. Like for women, this is like literally our womb of creation. And it helps us, like I said, to experience pleasure and pain. So if it's out of balance, a lot of the times that's the root cause of addiction, because it's like we want pleasure, and it's never enough. Or if it's out of balance, it could also lead you the complete other way, which is you live in a very rigid way and you're very disciplined and you don't always allow yourself to really enjoy and love life. So that would be, just imbalance in that sacral chakra. The third one is the yellow. It's the solar plexus, and that is power and will and your sense of identity, your ability to make commitments and to follow through with those commitments and to know who and what you are, the good, the bad, and the ugly, like, you know, your self-esteem and courage. The fourth one is your heart center, which is green, and that is unconditional love and compassion. And unconditional means unconditional. And you know, one of the things that makes me the teacher I am is that I've been through hell and back, and I know my shadow, and I've fixed it, and I know how to get myself to do the right thing, even when sometimes, because we all have good seeds and bad seeds. We all have the seeds of laziness and the seeds of discipline, the seeds of greed and the seeds of, you know, giving and sharing. And so if you can see both, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and your fears and your darkness, which is where this is all leading to emotions, with unconditional love and compassion, without thinking that you are a bad person for feeling this way or having these thoughts, and you really open your heart to whatever is there, that's where healing happens. And so our heart chakra, our heart center, helps us do that, helps us to open up. It's the seat of the soul, the seat of our spirit. The fifth chakra is our throat chakra, and that is the one that helps us express emotions and say yes when we mean yes, no when we mean no, and also express ourselves as we are. You know, I am not a very polished person. I am who I am. I make faces. I don't spit Christ sometimes. I curse a little every now and then, or a lot if I'm with people that I'm comfortable with. I'm trying not to curse on TV because, you know, I don't know who's watching, and then they'll judge me, and that's not helpful for them. But I am who I am, and probably as you get to know me, you will see, like, you get what you get. If you like me, wonderful. If you don't like me, wonderful. I don't take it personal. I'm still gonna be who I am. And that's a throat chakra thing. When you're putting up these faces and you put on, like, literally makeup. I'm not saying don't wear makeup. I choose not to wear makeup because it's just a pain. But when you put on these faces, and you're trying to present a version of yourself that's not your true self, just because you're worried about what people are going to say, what people are going to think, when you don't speak your truth, that's a throat chakra. That prevents energy from flowing through your system, and it creates a lot of conflict. The sixth one is your third eye. That's intuition and perception, your ability to see yourself clearly, your ability to see the world clearly. And the seventh one is your crown chakra, which is your connection to a greater force, to a force greater than yourself. So why am I talking about this? Because we have the physical body, then we have the energy body, which is what I just described. Then we have the emotional body, which is deeply affected by something that we call the gunas. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But basically what it is our emotional body is dependent on external influences. Like literally, this is why people get a little bit depressed in the winter and a little bit high and hyper in the spring. And it's very, very affected by the emotions of people around us, the environment in which you work, the environment in which you live. All of that is going to have a huge effect in your emotions. The next one is the wisdom body, which is the one that helps us to witness, to observe. So yesterday I gave you the exercise of saying, okay, watch your thoughts and kind of just classify them in one of these 4 categories, right? Well, if you are not your thoughts, then who are you, right? Because you saw your thoughts, that there's a witness in you that is seeing these thoughts and was able to do the homework and classify the thoughts as memory, imagination, understanding, misunderstanding, right? So you have your physical body, you have your energy body with the chakras, you have your emotional body, which is what we're going to talk more about today. You have your wisdom body, which is the one that discerns. It can see you having these thoughts. It can see you having these emotions. It can stay a little bit back and just watch you from within. You see yourself from within. That is your wisdom body, your consciousness body, your awareness body. Okay? And then the last one is it's called Anandamaya Kosha, which means the bliss body, and it's our natural mind, our spirit, a place of like pure peace and knowing, and like really being connected to your true self and to that force greater than yourself. So I'm painting the big picture here because when we talk about emotions and we talk about what are they, where they come from, how do they affect us, and what do we do with them, we have to have a knowledge about all of these 5 layers that I'm talking about, so you understand how to interact together and how the emotions fit into the whole picture of the human energy system. And then we can talk about how to use them. So I'm gonna let you digest that for a second, take a breath, and catch up with the comments here. So I am making you laugh. Good. Yes, I'm very good at entertaining myself. Okay, so no questions so far, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. If you have questions as you come up, then let me know. I do see some comments that are not necessarily directed to what I'm talking about now, so I will try to reply to them offline. So that I can keep us on track with what we're supposed to cover today. You know, I've been teaching for 20 years. I've been practicing for 20. I've been teaching for 10. And so I have like a huge amount of knowledge and a lot of questions, but I've learned as a teacher to like just stay on track and then don't try and answer everything at once, because then I just give you overwhelm and it's not productive. So I will get back to some of those questions. I just want to stay on track for now. Okay, so our energy creates our thoughts, and that's the first thing that I want you to understand. We have this energy system flowing through, and the energy creates your thoughts. So if you have negative energy, you're likely to have negative thoughts. If you have positive energy, you're likely to have positive thoughts. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. A lot of people say, where do thoughts come from? They come from because you're alive in this human body with consciousness flowing through you and a mind that needs to understand what the heck is going on. You know, you wake up in this human body and you have a job and a name and a family and a house and all of these things, and the mind needs to help us to understand. And so the mind has to constantly be thinking about how to navigate the world. But where do those thoughts come from? They come from the energy that is literally giving us life. It's just like the mind helps us to understand. Otherwise, we'd just be blank, and you know, we would be like a plant or a rock, like without the consciousness and the freedom of choice. That's what makes us human, and that is the beautiful gift about being a human being. The fact that you have conscious choice, and the way that you get to exercise that conscious choice is through the thoughts of the mind. And so that's why it's so important to master our mind, because it allows us to change our vibrational frequency by taking proper action, right choices, right words, etc. And that leads me to the next part, which is, okay, the emotions that we have been promising to talk about. Our emotions, think of it like our compass. The emotions are those like directional like signals that your system is kind of trying to literally scream at you. Go this way, go that way, don't go this way, this isn't right, this doesn't feel good, that feels good, this feels right, this doesn't feel right. And so whenever you're trying to, let's say, make a decision in life, a lot of the times we're in our head, and we might even like grab a piece of paper and go pros and cons and rationalize and talk to other people and try to get opinions and begin to do the research, and you know, you get all so caught up in your head and then you completely miss the point. Why? Because you did not allow yourself to feel. How does it feel? When you sit and you imagine a certain outcome or a certain scenario or a certain situation, how does it feel? Does it create fear? Does it create joy? Does it create sadness? Does it create, how does it feel? Right? So your emotions are intricately linked to your intuition. If it feels right, it probably is. If it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Go the other way. What the heck are you doing trying to rationalize, defend, justify, force things to feel okay when you already know within that something isn't quite right? And why do we do that? Because we have been conditioned by society to rationalize, to think, to operate from our head and our solar plexus, willpower, and especially in this culture, it's like just go, 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 and do, and the more you achieve, and the more you have, and the more titles or whatever that, and the more, you know, grandiose you look, the more value you have. And so we are trying to achieve all of these things from a mental place, when sometimes we really do know in our hearts already that it's either right or wrong. And so learning to listen to your emotions is like so key to your spiritual progress. Learning to sit with them during your practice and not let the mind get hooked into the emotions, it's what allows healing to happen. Because you basically, oh, let me see if I have here are your emotions and here are your thoughts, and they're kind of two different things. You could have emotions without thoughts and just feel your emotions, and you can have thoughts without emotion, just understanding and trying to rationalize and doing it from like almost like a computerized mechanical place of understanding. And then oftentimes your computer wants to go this way and do it that way because that's what you think you should be doing, and your emotions are going, no, that doesn't feel right, I want to go this way. And then the mind's not listening, and then here you are just having this inner conflict, and you're constantly fighting with yourself. Do I follow my mind or do I follow my emotions? And that's what creates the inner conflict. So this is why it's so important to train your mind. Because if you can see your thoughts, memory, imagination, understanding, misunderstanding, and then you can see what you feel and kind of separate it from these thoughts and put it on two different post-it notes. You can say, okay, the thoughts are obviously irrational, they're not helping me. So if I just, drop the thoughts and I'm left with my emotions, what do they feel? How do they feel? What, you don't have to give it a name. You might not even be able to describe it. Oftentimes you can't really even put it into words. It is literally just a feeling that bubbles from within. And so learning to understand and feel your emotions with an open heart. So if you feel fear, go ahead. That's all it is. It's fear. Feel it. It sucks. It's like this low vibration energy that like makes your throat and your heart just kind of tingle and vibrate, and it just doesn't feel good. But that's all it is. It's just fear. Can you observe the fear? Can you feel the fear? Can you stop trying to attach thoughts and explain, I am fearful because what if I get into an accident, and what if I can't pay my bills, and what if something happens to my kids, and what if it rains tomorrow and I'm supposed to have a party outside and I'm gonna have, okay, whatever it is. It's just fear, pure, raw fear. And the only thing that helps to heal the fear is love. Unconditional love and compassion. Where there is unconditional love and compassion, there can be no fear. And all of the negative emotions that you have come from a place of fear. Write that down. All the emotions that you have are always coming from a place of fear. So if you have greed, what's the source? Fear. Fear that you won't have enough. So then you want more, 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 more. Okay? If you have sadness or like just aversion to something that you don't like, that doesn't make you feel good, what's the fear? That you're in that negative place, and because you're in a negative place and you're focused on that negative place, you can't even look at the positive place. You are almost, it's funny really, because it's almost like you're afraid to be happy. You're afraid to experience joy and abundance and pleasure and happiness in your life. And anxiety, to be honest, I don't really understand very well. I have had fearful things, but when I personally get anxious, I just go into action mode. I'm like, okay, I have a problem, I'm afraid, what can I do? And just the doing in and of itself, like, just gets me out. I don't know how to sit with the fear itself. Fear actually propels me forward. It's very weird. But I do know what it's like to have sadness. I do know what it's like to suffer from depression. 10, 12 years ago, probably longer, before I started doing yoga and before I started doing all of these practices and energy healing, and I really understood what the heck was going on with me, I used to suffer from depression, and it was a functioning depression. Like, I would still go to work and function and go through the day and function, but there was no joy, there was no zeal, there was no excitement. And a lot of the times that comes from fear of facing the pain. So then what happens is the system kind of shuts down. And as I began to do my own healing, and I started to see the pain that was there from the childhood experiences and trauma and all of the, I told you, I've been through hell and back. Like, I'm not going to go into the whys and the hows, because once you've rehashed something enough, you literally do leave it in the past. That is true healing. But I know what it's like to suffer, and I know what it's like to be in pain. And I can tell you that a lot of times depression comes from not wanting to face those difficult experiences that you might have had. Same thing with anxiety. That's where it comes from too. It's like there's something underneath that the system is trying to avoid, and it's just under the rug, and it's been there for so darn long that you don't even know what created it in the first place. All you know is that there's fear under the rug. And so what happens is the fear begins to project itself into all of these people, places, things, jobs, relationships, money issues, all of this other stuff. And that's not even the freaking root cause of the fear. The root cause of the fear is under the rug. And a lot of the times you might not even be able to point to a specific experience that created this huge amount of fear. It could be that, remember your ancestors? They're fearful people. And here you are with that momentum moving forward. And so if you can, right here, right now, say fear and thoughts, and the thoughts have nothing to do with the fear, and all you're left with is the fear, and you can open up your heart to love and light and acknowledge this fear, and then see that everything else that's coming from it is coming from that place, and that all you have to do is try and step forward into a different vibration. Now the question is, how the heck do you do that? Like, doesn't it sound wonderful? Who thinks that sounds wonderful? If it was only that easy. I'll let you comment for a second, and let me just catch up with the comments so that I can see if there's anything. My God, there's so much going on. You guys are awesome. So now what I see is that I'm just triggering thoughts and triggering insights, And just this live format, it's not the best place for me to try and answer all of it at once. So I'm just gonna answer the logistic questions. In regards to the homework, you go to the units tab, and in the units tab, you will see 3 posts. One is a replay of the video, the other one is a recap, because sometimes people might not have an hour to watch the video, so I try and keep them just the bullet points. And then a homework post at the end. So you can post on any one of those. If you post your homework in there, feel free. It's all organized in the units tab. You like the explanation of thoughts and emotions? Good. Train your mind, train your thoughts. Wayne Dyer, yes, that's a really good, I think it's Change Your Mind, Change Your Thoughts. Might be the book if you're referring to a book. I'm not sure, Lisa, but it is a beautiful thing. Anxiety is always there, yes, for the reasons that I explain. Does fear have anything to do with your inner child being afraid or scared of something? Yeah, and a lot of times it has to do with being afraid to face the crap. That's the truth. So the fear is there because we are avoiding, we are in denial. And so the whole reason that we're trying to train our minds is because when we're able to do that and we separate the emotions from the thoughts, then you actually can begin to get to the root cause of the problem. So the system has to be stable enough, strong enough to, and have enough stamina to be able to see the raw emotions as they come up. If your system is not strong enough, then when the fear and the emotions come up, the mind either just goes bananas at 1,000 miles an hour with whatever the issue is, or it goes into complete denial and goes to do anything other than face the pain and face the problem. So a lot of the times, like I said, when people are suffering from anxiety and depression and all of these emotions, is because we are not doing the work. So it's funny because a lot of the reason that you need a practice, a systematic practice, is because it strengthens your system. It strengthens all 5 layers: the physical layer, the mental layer, the energy layer, the awareness witness layer. This is why you need a systematic and enjoyable practice, because in order for your spirit to do the inner healing that it needs to do, you need a container that's strong enough to be able to do this work. If your mind is unstable, you cannot do that work. If your physical body is in pain, you cannot do that work. If your energy is depleted and you don't have enough prana, chi, life force flowing through you, you cannot do the work. If you have not trained yourself in your wisdom body to observe what you're doing from a place of witnessing and conscious awareness, you cannot do the work. So you need a practice so that you can be anchored. And tomorrow we're going to talk about exactly what that practice looks like and what your options are and how to stick with it and how to track it and how to measure progress and all of that. But you know, it's not productive for me to go and lecture you about having a practice unless you understand first that you need to create time and space for your practice, like we did Monday. Second, that your mind works in a certain way. Third, that your emotions are your compass and they're guiding you to what it is you need to heal. And then tomorrow we talk about, okay, so now you know how the system works. You see from your witnessing place what you're doing. Your emotions are screaming at you, this is what needs to be healed. I'm in fear, I'm in pain, I'm depressed, I'm scared, I am sad, I am angry, I'm resentful, I am so upset. This person triggers me, that person triggers me, this situation triggers me, that situation triggers me. Those are your signals, those are your blinking lights that are saying something ain't right. And you know, it's funny because people don't even want to admit that something ain't right. Like, no, I'm not depressed, I'm not anxious, I don't have a problem. And I'm like, listen, if you are experiencing anything other than complete love, light, peace, gratitude each moment of every day, you probably have something that needs to be healed. So stop hiding and pretending you're okay, because that doesn't make the problem go away. Okay? So begin to strengthen your container so that then your spirit can bring up to the surface whatever it is that needs to be healed. And when it comes up, and this is the next question on your workbook, it's like, okay, now my container is strong enough. I've been doing my practices. My mind is stable. My body's no longer in pain. I have enough energy flowing through me to let this consciousness be witness of what it is that I'm experiencing. Now what do I do? And this answer is more simple than you think. Just literally allow yourself to feel. I promise you, you will be okay. If you are trying to not feel, your mind is gonna go bananas, trying to avoid, distract, rationalize, defend, and do all these crazy things. And if you allow yourself to actually feel whatever is there with an open heart, then the healing can begin. And I have never seen a single student feel and regret feeling. Every time we might go through some of the darkest, heaviest emotions and energies as we do the work. And on the other side, there's nothing but gratefulness and relief and lightness. And so it doesn't matter how heavy it is and how dark it is and how scary it is. If you have a witness and you have support and you have a practice and you have the determination and all the other things that you need, there's nothing that can't be healed with enough light and enough love. Okay, I'm gonna check out the comments again. Give me 1 second. Just talking about this is helping to calm me. Good, Kayla, I'm glad to hear. Yes, pain is often unmanaged energy and unmanaged emotions as well. So that's a little bit about emotions. What you want to do is you want to acknowledge them. You want to allow yourself to feel them. You want to understand that if you want to not feel is because your mind is just afraid of the unknown. So you want to be patient with your emotions, but you also want to be firm and not get caught up in them. Just stay in that place of witnessing. Your homework for today is to sit for 7 minutes and allow yourself to feel, no matter how uncomfortable it is. And maybe you're lucky and today is a good day and you're grateful, and when you sit you feel joy and peace and happiness. Good for you. Allow yourself to feel that too. And don't get attached to that either, because as long as you are in human form, you are subject to the gunas, which is the last part of my lecture, which is the environment that you live in. So the gunas are the qualities of nature. The first one is rajas, which is action, fire, the energy that's constantly making us move and do and change and transform. The other energy is called tamas, which is like lethargic and sleepy and tired. When it's a wet and rainy day, that's kind of like a tamasic kind of weather. And then the other one is sattva, which is a state of just clarity and peacefulness. And as long as you're alive, you will have fluctuations, because as long as we live in the world, you are being affected by one of these three energies. So on a sunny day that's really bright and energy is flowing through, you are likely to experience emotions that are of that nature. On a gloomy day, and if you are in a gloomy environment, you are likely to experience emotions of that nature. And so your goal is to create an environment externally, like we did on day one, and internally through your practice of breathing and movement and journaling, that allows you to really just find that Zen place of clarity. And so as long as you're alive, you're going to be subject to the gunas. And today, depending on where you are and what's going on in the environment and what you ate and how much you slept and all of that, it doesn't matter. I want you to sit for 7 minutes and I want you to feel your emotions, whether they are positive or they are negative. And if you can write them down and say, okay, I am experiencing fear or sadness or anger or resentment or frustration or whatever it is, then go ahead and name them. But if you cannot name them, just allow yourself to feel. And if you go deeper and deeper, if the emotions are negative, the deeper and deeper you sit with like awareness and consciousness, you will see that the root of those negative emotions is most likely fear. And so then I want you to just feel it and let it dissipate through the power of consciousness. That's all that the practices are really there to help you do, to allow you to just really feel and let all of this energy come through. And the thing is, we talked about 5 bodies. Any work that you do on any one of those 5 bodies affects the other 4. So if you work on your mental body, it's going to have an effect on the other 4. If you work on your energy body through practices like Reiki and stuff, it's going to have an effect on the other ones. If you work at the physical level with like poses and yoga and Tai Chi or whatever you choose, it's going to have an effect on all the other layers. If you work like right now, understanding with knowledge, and you are informing yourself and reading books and doing whatever it is, it's going to have an effect on the other layers. So you have to have a practice that approaches the entire thing holistically and systematically. And it doesn't really matter which of these layers you start working from, they all affect each other. So the more that you work on the one layer that you feel that you need the most help with, then the more that you will improve little by little spiritually. So I think that's it for today. That's my agenda for today. Let me just go through the comments, and in the meantime, if you have any other questions before we close Sacred Space, let me know. Okay, put a little happy face or something in there if you found today's chat helpful. And if you want to share about anything that you found interesting or a little aha moment that you had, feel free to put that in there as well. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to share with you an opportunity as of how you can continue to work with me if you find these helpful and you want a guide and a teacher in a community. But I'm also going to guide you on what to look for, because I'm one teacher, but I'm not everyone's teacher. So whomever you choose needs to be right for you, and then you need to kind of have an idea and a map as of what you're looking for and what feelings this teacher should create in you, and what to watch out for, because there's good teachers out there, and then there's some that are still working on themselves. You will also always find the teacher that's right for you at the right time. So you also kind of have to trust that intuition, that you're at the right place at the right time for whatever reason, and learning to follow that inner guidance is very, very precious, because if you just trust, it will lead you to the next step in the journey. And one of the best things to do is to allow yourself to feel deep within, is this right for me? And it doesn't matter what your head says or what your head might want to understand or not understand. How does it feel? And can you learn to trust that guidance? When something feels good, can you just go leap forward and do it wholeheartedly and with all of your entire 5 layers physical, mental, emotional, energetical, and the wisdom layer of observing and understanding with consciousness. Okay, thank you so much for letting me know you're there. I am actually getting a little bit more comfortable as the days go by with talking to you this way. So thank you for the interaction. I appreciate it. So let's go ahead and close Sacred Space. Ground yourself into the earth and bring the palms together at the center of the heart. And I want you to notice how you feel after an hour of just listening to these enlightening talks, and how it makes a difference in your energy system, in your emotions for the day, and how maybe it inspires you and uplifts you. And when you do that, you have that much more energy flowing through your system, and it brings you joy and hope and gratitude and excitement and inspiration. Those emotions are there to let you know you are at the right place at the right time. You are going in the right direction, and you need to honor them, and you need to respect them, and you need to bow to the divine power that has led you here today, this moment, this breath. Because what I do, it's done through me, it's not done by me, it's not done for me, it's done as a way of service, and it's coming from a power much, much greater than any of us. And so it's with that respect that we bow to the Creator that has given us life. Amen. Namaste. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow and to seeing your homework posts during the night and tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye-bye.